everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. Right, it's so nice to see so many of you back here again, and I think we have a couple of new people here today as well. Right, right. Before I begin, hope all of you have prepared your tea or coffee or some cakes. Yeah, that's good. So we can have an afternoon chat later on. So before I begin, I would like to just have a short introduction, of myself as usual, right? For those that have just joined us today, just give me a moment while I turn on the slides here. So, okay, I guess not everyone will have such nice cake or coffee, right? Uh, but I guess hope all of you will be able to enjoy today's session, and later on, hopefully there's some interaction later on. I'll talk more about it later on. So, my name is Boon Keng, right? I've been doing public speaking for about 2 years, being very focused on that, and to share about my own life with dealing with muscular dystrophy as well. So muscular dystrophy is basically a condition that causes my muscles to get weaker over time, and I gradually lose the ability to do um, different things. For example, when I was very young, about when probably around 9 years old, I was still able to walk, right, and run and play sports with my friends, right. But slowly my muscles got weaker, and I couldn't walk. And right now, even as I speak, at times you may not hear me so well because uh, the muscles my breathing and my speaking may be affected as well, right. So for me, there's been a lot of changes in my life, right, from because of losing my muscles and not able to do some things, right? So I regard that as every time, whenever my ability changes, I would feel that there's a new normal out there for me to adapt to something different that I need to learn to get used to. That's why from this sharing of how I get used to my new normal each time, I hope all of you here also can also help all of you here to be able to uh, find your journey towards this new normal in the pandemic situation right now. So for the past two sessions, I've been sharing um, these 4 points, mostly on the mindset and attitude to have in terms of being able to adapt and grow in this journey towards the new normal, right? So to be honest, whenever I attend talks and all these, and workshops as well, I'm always very eager to learn new things, and I look forward to learning the skills, right? So I don't want to just tell people or learn about the mindsets, but I also want to learn what I can physically do as well. What are the actions that I can take, the skills that I need to learn. So today I want to share more on the practical side on what can be done, or what are the skills to adopt in this towards adapting in the new normal, right? So I'll just go very straightforward um, and directly into the points that I want to share about, right? The first point that I want to talk about is to be able to practice gratitude, right? Uh, it's very important to be able to find the good things, adapt to what is amidst the bad things, because to be honest, uh, when it's all good and smooth sailing in our life, it's very easy to be thankful, to feel good and to see what are the good things out there and be able to identify them. But what about the bad times when, in terms of crisis or things don't look so good? right? It's maybe very hard for you to think positive, right? So that's why even more important to be able to see this light in the darkness, in the darkest of darkness. So uh, I use this illustration of a candle. You know, even the smallest candle can bring light to the very dark places or the very dark moments in our life. So gratitude is that candle, is that skill that you need to practice. It's not something that comes to you directly, right? In order to have a grateful heart, you need to practice it. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's not something that in your personality or what, but you need to develop it over time. So that's why I want to share this first point on developing um, gratitude. You know, this skill of gratitude. Um, Let me just share with you a short story, right, on how actually in the past, um, when I was when I was studying, right, uh, I did pretty well in my studies. You know, I was quite good in doing, uh, going through education and also being able to get the grades that I want to go to the school and the course that I want to do, and eventually being able to graduate from NUS. So actually, a lot of people commended me, you know, complimented me that I'm good in my studies, you know, keep it up and it's a good job. But uh, in the past, you know, I always felt that uh, quite empty, you know, even amidst all these good academic grades, results, I just feel it's nothing much to me. You know, why do I even, uh, it doesn't bother me that much, right? In fact, I was actually so much more focused on what I don't have, you know, on what I lack socially. I always felt that, you know, when I go to school, I don't really have much friends. I'm always quite limited in, I can't participate in a lot of activities out there because of my disability. So my social circle was very small and I can't join my friends in whatever activities that I want to. So I was always very bothered about that part of my life. And in fact, I felt that I rather have more friends, be closer to my friends than get all these good results. So as you can see, you know, um, just because of one bad aspect of my life, I was so focused on that aspect of my life that I did not and didn't celebrate the good part of my life. That's why today, you know, I want to share how important it is to not just be blinded by the whatever bad in your life is are there, but practice gratitude as well. So what I did, you know, over time as I learned in my life, is to be able to find out what are the good things in my life, how I want to break down my day into finer details, you know, so that I can see what are the good things or what are the things I should be grateful for in my life. So for example, and I share with you one a morning in my life, uh, when I wake up, uh, I love sunny days. So whenever it's sunny day, I will just feel very thankful for it. You know that wow, I woke up to a nice sunny morning. Of course, if it's rainy, then forget about it. But there are still many other good things out there, right? For example, as I wake up, my Google Assistant, like Google Home, calls wakes me up, right? I recently got that, so I'm quite thankful for that technology that exists to help me uh, be at least slightly more independent in my life, to wake myself up in my life for the day, and then being able to have breakfast, have my mom or helper to prepare for me the breakfast. I think it's something I'm very thankful for, to have someone who's there, rain or shine, to be there to help me. And I do know, you know, for some of us, we may not be so lucky. Um, we may not have the luxury of time to take some time to eat our breakfast. Some of us may be rushing for work. Just a coffee may be our breakfast already. So I have to say I'm quite blessed to have the time to be able to take like 10 minutes to slowly take my breakfast. I cannot swallow too fast or I get choked. Right? But it's a time that I need to uh, give thanks to, right? To be able to have that luxury to slowly take my breakfast. And then as I get up, go to shower, there's the aspect of being able to have the hot water there, have the water supply there, and you thankful that it's not disrupted at all. And after I get up, shower and get ready to do my work, I'm thankful for having meaningful things to do, to be able to be employed, right? Especially now amidst this um, economic recession and all this is something I have to treasure as well to be able to continue be gainfully employed. So I'll just stop at this uh, 3 hours in my life. Right? If I continue on, it will probably take another hour for me to say the whole entire day, the entire list. But I hope you get it. You get this point that uh, actually you can just look at your whole day, take out paper or just type it down, list down all the things that you um, can be grateful for the entire day, and that's very important. So for those of us who haven't started doing this thing down, it's good to start writing down. And for those of us who already been doing this, right, it's good to continue revising this list. Right, it will get longer if you practice more because, as I mentioned, gratitude is a skill that you need to continue practicing, and I'm very sure this list that you have will get longer as you revise it and look into it again. Right. So as I mentioned, to just uh, so the second point, like I mentioned, is about being able to pause and pace yourself in life, especially right now. Actually, not right now, right? 2 months ago, when circuit breaker started, I saw a lot of people talking about how bored they might get, how uh, they want to find more things to do because they have to stay home now for the whole day, right? So I think as I look through it, I share the same sentiments, but I wanted to also tell people that it's okay to be bored, uh, and it allows you time to rest and also to do other meaningful um, things creatively, right? Right now, I just want to, just ask everyone here, right? Just a poll, short quick, to ask, how often do you actually feel bored? Yeah. Okay, so as I can see, the most people are saying sometimes, right? I think it's a good balance that uh, it's only sometimes that they feel bored, right? Nobody pick often or always. Okay, so for me, actually, I would say it's in the past it's very often that I get bored. I'm someone who gets very restless if I sit there and don't do anything. Any moment I need to find things to do. Even right now, actually, sometimes during some Zoom calls or meeting, I can't help but need to surf the web, while attending the conference or meeting. I hope none of you are doing that right now. Okay, but in the past, it's even more, right? Uh, that whenever I actually take the MRT, take public transport to go out, right, I would feel that urge to take up my phone to use it to chat with my friend or to reply messages, play games, read something on the uh, read some books or even listen to the music, right? I can't imagine myself not doing anything while waiting for to arrive at the destination that I want. I think this applies to like some of you here may also feel the same that you cannot don't do anything, right? And that was the case for me for quite a while, until my muscles got weaker, and there was a time where I couldn't started to find it very difficult to use my phone while on the train, and eventually I couldn't use the phone anymore. Probably only just press a few buttons. I can't do much, so I myself just leave my phone aside. Initially, when I couldn't do that, couldn't use my phone on the train, I felt really uncomfortable. It was frustrating for me to not be able to reply messages when the message sound notification ring, and it took me a while to get used to it. But eventually, as I got used to it, I I saw the good side of this pause that I get while taking the train. I can look outside, see the good scenery, the trees and all this there, or take some time to observe people, uh, and also if there's not much people around, I just close my eyes or relax, take time to recharge so that I'm all charged up for the next activity that's coming up after the training journey. So as I share that, it reminds me of this important lesson that I had learned. Sometimes it's okay to just pause there and idle around and even feel bored. Right? There's a study that even shows that boredom can spark creativity. If you want to go and find out, it's back in 2014 when they did this study. And I would like to say that it's just that how sleep is important. That pause in your life is also important to help you to recharge and to think of the next step that you want in your life. But how exactly do you pause? What I'm sharing now, uh, you may see that it's 1, 2, 3, but you may not need to follow in steps. There are a lot of resources out there, and I can honestly say that all these things that are listed here, is also something that I read out there. So you don't have to follow it exactly, right? Just take whatever is relevant to you and apply in your life. So firstly, it's important to actually acknowledge whatever you are feeling, that thought, that restlessness that you are feeling there, right? Uh, and not just ignore it, right? Don't feel like there's a need to keep thinking that don't think about this, don't think about this, no, don't think about this thought, right? I think the more you try to not think about it, you think about it as well, right? Because you are focusing your energy on trying to get rid of that thought, right? But it's important to first acknowledge it, identify it's there, and last week I shared about how on the concept of impermanence, right? Knowing that this thought that you have, this feeling will eventually pass, even though it's uncomfortable, how uncomfortable it is, it will pass if you first acknowledge it and don't focus your energy on that, just acknowledge it, know that it's there, but don't focus on the energy on that, right? Instead, you can focus on um, having deep breathing, right? Deep breathing of at least maybe 4 seconds. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Hold it there for a while and just exhale for another 4 counts at least, right? If you can do it longer, right, it's even better because it slows down your body, slows, and instead now you are focusing on the only thing that you need to do currently, which is breathing, lah. Right? If you stop breathing, then uh, we are not living anymore. So you just focus on the only thing that you need to do now is just to breathe, and you'll be able to pause from all these uh, distractions, or sometimes just that boredom and feeling very restless that you want to do something about it. But it's really okay to uh, just idle your mind, feel bored a little bit, right? At times, of course, not all the time, right? So, just one more activity I want to get you all involved in, right? I'm going to say later on, right? When once you start that 1 minute, I want you to sit still, just observe the thoughts that's floating across in your mind, that's coming across in your mind. So, okay, we'll start the 1 minute right now. Okay, all right. So, as the from the poll that you all can see, that most of us have 5 or more, right? And I'm glad nobody have 0, right? If you put that 0, that means I think you need to practice more on uh, being more conscious, aware of your thoughts that come across, right? Because I asked you to count the thoughts, right? So obviously there's already one thought in your mind that you need to count the number of thoughts or feelings that come across your mind. And I think for those that say you have lost count, right? Yeah, it's a good time that you can start practicing to slow down um, your pace in life as well, to learn to pause a little bit more. But I can honestly say in the past, I also have that lost count, right? Every time it just swims in my mind, and I feel very troubled, right? So many thoughts in my mind that I can't even rest. But over time, with practice, um, it's getting lesser now, right? Sometimes can be less than 5 or so. Right? So thank you everyone for your honest responses. That's point number 2, right? To be able to pause yourself. The last point I want to share, I think is a very common knowledge that uh, people might know, that you have to remember yourself that we are still in this. It's a journey in our life that we all try to continue learning and practicing, right? All I can say is that when I was sharing the 2 points earlier on, I keep mentioning on practicing and being able to practice your skills, and eventually you'll get better at it, right? But it won't be it won't be 100%, it won't be perfect, right? Because even right now I can tell you that I there are times that I still take things for granted, right? There are times that I'm just blinded by the whatever bad things that are happening. There are also times that uh, I'm still very restless. Like I mentioned, during Zoom meetings, I need to find something else to do as well. So eventually, as I practice all these skills, I recognize that I'm still not perfect, right? I still need to continue practicing it, continue trying it, right? It's more important to keep trying it instead of bashing yourself up and feeling too upset that you have failed in achieving this, because that negative feeling is not going to help you go anywhere, but that the more important feeling of uh, having to continue trying, that's the more important attitude to have in life, to be able to adapt and be able to grow and become a better person. So this last point is pretty short, right? But is I would take it as a reminder, right? Because from young, I'm sure our parents have taught us that, keep trying, don't give up. And even now, as parents, some of us, will tell our children as well to keep trying and not give up. Right? It's a very innate uh, thing that we have, but we need to constantly remind ourselves, even though it's such a simple thing. So as I mentioned, these are the three points that I shared today, the skills that you can practice on: uh, gratitude, learning how to pause, and remember that everything is a journey that you are going through. No need to bash yourself up just because of one failure or one mistake.